Well, hello everyone. Good day, good night, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's P.O. Stewart here. Another one of those spontaneous videos. Just thought I would shoot it because my mind has been dwelling on the books now that I've read in 2025, and as I get ready, compile my year-end list because I won't be doing a lot of reading towards the end of the year as I put my attention towards my own writing. Um, One of the series, and two books specifically in the series, I read the first book a while back, and I managed to read the second two books in the trilogy this year. That's really living rent free in my head is Empires of Dust by Anna Smith Spark. And this is the first book, The Court of Broken Knives. This is the second book, The Tower of Living and Dying, and this is the third book, The House of Sacrifice. So, this series is dark as you know what. And the author, Anna Smith Spark, is absolutely brilliant. Her moniker is the Princess of Grimdark. And that is for a reason. She is Grimdark royalty. I will say about this particular series, I have not finished the Prince of Nothing trilogy by R. Scott Bakker. I've only read The Dark That Comes Before. I've read some stuff by Marco R. Fletcher. But Sienna Frost, another one of my favorite authors, grimdark authors, indie authors who pens the Obsidian trilogy. This is in my opinion, the darkest thing that I've probably ever read in fantasy. And it's dark, it's beautiful, it's compelling, and it's horrible. And I think, though, it's something to fall in love with. This has the nihilism, and there is also a lot of philosophical ruminations here. But I think the things that will really, really grip you with this book, the prose is something. Again, I have to speak of first because, as you know, prose is the gateway for me to me loving a book, and this prose is so unique. It is so poetic. It is vivid. It's lyrical. It's got this rhythmic quality to it, and it makes you. It excites you. It makes you feel exhilarated. It is, and especially when it comes to the battle scenes, the violence. I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not trying to glorify violence, but Anna Smith Spark makes it beautiful. And this series will, I think, stay with you long after you've finished reading the last words of the last page of the last book. It is quite the series. So this series, it really plays upon decadence and crumbling decadence, corruption. It's centered around an empire that is essentially falling in on itself. It's dying, and it's dying because it's rotting. And however, of course, while that empire is decaying, there's another one that seemingly is going to rise out of the ashes. And I think I really don't want to spoil this series. I want to encourage everyone to read it. So I'm not going to get too deep into the characters or things such as that. I want to mostly talk about the themes of the writing. I do have a review linked in this video to my review of the first book, The Court of Broken Knives. I published that review on in Before We Go blog. So I encourage you to check out that review. Really gives you, I think, a good hint of what you're going to find in the series. But again, the writing is absolutely stunning. Um, Elspeth Spark has this ability she uses like repetition and inversion, and she plays on words. It just brings everything just alive. Um, and now it's not going to be for everyone, but I absolutely fell in love with her prose. The world building, this is a very bleak world. This is a bleak, charmless world, but it's still beautiful. And the world building, it's lush. Um, it's fantastically well drawn. There's some, fabulous creatures there, terrifying creatures. You're gonna find everything, dragons, the things that you love in fantasy. For those of you like those fantasy tropes, you're gonna find them there. But you're also gonna find some really unique elements, and a magic system that's very. I love soft magic systems. This magic system in these books are very much more teased than shown. But I think you'll definitely get a sense of the impact and the relevance of the magic to the story. So this is, again, I have to focus on the darkness because I think that's the one thing readers need to be aware. It is brutally dark. It's basically a walking trigger warning. Human sacrifice, killing of children, sexual violence, murder, genocide, torture, mutilation, mania, revenge, drug addiction, mental disorders. I mean, there's some pretty dark stuff in here, very bleak stuff in here. And the characters they're pretty stark. I don't think you're going to find a lot of people in this book to root for. If you're someone who needs those characters to really root for, and these characters have to be largely good and genuinely noble, look away. Don't bother with this series. That's not what this is about. This again, it focuses on the worst aspects of humanity, depravity, revenge. And I have to say that for some people I know that can be very tiring. They use fantasy for escapism from the real world, and but this is going to draw you back into, unfortunately, some of the worst elements of human nature. And I have to say that I have to commend the courage with which this series is written, because Esther Spark doesn't let you look away from the bad things that people do, but writes in a way that is still treats it compassionately, but yet unflinchingly honest. There's an element, especially when it comes to the battle, that she essentially says that we think about warriors in these ancient fantasy battles. Most of them are intrinsically noble. They don't really want to kill and go to war, but they're forced to. They're not ones who would commit atrocities or war crimes. They detest killing, but they feel it's necessary. But there's only a certain type of person who relishes in the violence and the gore and the bad things. But no, Edison Spark basically says that for the most part, violence is heady. Human beings have an innate capacity to kill, and not just kill, but love it. That we love the bloodthirsty element. We can fall in love with it. It's heady. It's intoxicating. That you get people started down the road of give them a cause that that they can use to explore these deep-seated, dark, perhaps repressed feelings of wanting to kill and do violent things, to rape and pillage. You give them a chance and unleash that, they aren't going to want to turn back, and the vast majority won't want to turn back. There's an extremely I think one of the most disturbing elements of this series is there's and I don't want to spoil it again, but there's a scene where even the leader of this group, who is essentially rampaging, raping, killing, pillaging indiscriminately for the very sake of the fact that they can. And even when the leader gets a bit squeamish and saying, maybe we've finally gone too far, and his army's ready to turn against him because they want more blood. They want more. And you know, it was just so visceral. But I really have to say that Anissa Spark, she does such a great job of looking at the monster within us and showing us what that monster looks like when it's unleashed, and linking it to the fact that, you know, oftentimes we think that battles in these fights are again for some noble endeavor, or, you know, because someone's forced to do it, or there's, you know, or the fact that someone is a nationalist and they're protecting their kingdom or their realm, etc. No, that, you know, they Anna Smith Spark basically says that, you know, we have an urge within us to unleash the beast and give in to our worst impulses, and that's the way it is. So again, this is a very, very, very dark book, a very, very dark series. When I talk about the book, I'm speaking specifically about A Court of Broken Knives, the first book. It just gets darker as the series continues with the other books. So again, if this isn't your cup of tea, if Grimdark isn't something you normally read, you know, I would say turn away. But if you enjoy the beautiful prose, it is just, the prose is just so amazing. If you can handle those dark themes, and if you want to kind of look into that heart of darkness, you know, with extremely morally gray, complex characters, that you're probably not going to root for any of them. They're mostly horrible. You know, I think, and I don't know if that sounds like a selling feature, but let's face it, there's people who love Grimdark. I am one of them. And I love it for the things that it explores about human nature. If that sounds like the kind of thing you want to read, I strongly recommend it. Again, if this isn't your thing, the darkness that I'm describing isn't your thing, and it's too much, totally understand that. Don't buy this series. But again, it's impeccably written. It's such a unique style. It's so eclectic and just beautiful the way Anna Smith Spark writes. Linked in the description of this video are also a deep dive exploration with some of the page chewing crew, including Steve Topp's books, where we do a kind of non-spoiler exploration of the series, the entire series. Also linked is my reviews, I said, of the first book, Court of Broken Knives, on the Incredible Before We Go blog site. I've also linked Anna Smith Spark's Goodreads page. So if you want to add the series to your Goodreads, you can. And so again, this is top-notch grimdark, beautiful prose, extremely violent, nihilistic, some really dark themes. Like, make sure that you're prepared for that if you do want to read this series. But I totally think it's worth your while. Anna Smith Spark has become a must-buy author. I plan to read everything that she writes. I have to say that this series is going to probably make its way into my top traditionally published series of all time. It is fabulous. And again, you know, I think that her writing ability is off the charts, Anna Smith Spark. But yes, it is dark as anything. So that is my quick overview of particularly books 2 and 3 of The Empires of Dust, The Tower of Living Dying, and House of Sacrifice. Again, the written review on the Before We Go blog of Court of Broken Knives, the first book, is linked in the description below. I hope you check out Anna Smith Spark. Again, if you like authors such as Sienna Frost, Michael R. Fletcher, R. Scott Bakker, Grimdark, if you're into the Grimdark, this is top level Grimdark. Okay, everyone, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this quick review video, and we will talk to you soon.